Welcome back to On the Record. I'm Sheila Kast. Here's a scoop story from Wall Street money manager turned psychic Debra Diamond about her first brush with the afterworld.
My name's Debra Diamond, and does anybody here know me? Yes? You're going to hear something now that you didn't know about me. So I'm just, putting a disclaimer out there. I'm a psychic, okay? I didn't always used to be a psychic, and I don't look like your typical psychic. I don't wear a turban. I'm not a gypsy, if there is such a thing as a typical psychic. I used to be a money manager, okay? I don't have the typical background for a psychic. Whoever said they knew me knows something about my background. I used to be a commentator on CNBC. So there aren't a lot of us around who are former money manager, CNBC commentators who are psychics. But I want to share an experience with you about how this happened to me. So when I was in the money management business, I always had really good intuition. That's what I thought it was, because in the money management business, there is no part of the Wall Street vernacular that includes any new age vocabulary, okay? It's just not part of it. I mean, they would say, you have good instincts. What does your gut tell you? So, people would scratch their heads and say to me, I don't know how you do it, but just keep going. How do you know all these things? How do you know what a stock's going to do? How do you know what a company's going to do? And I didn't know myself, but people would say, well, you must have good instincts. And I thought, yeah, I have good instincts. That's the answer. So about 8 years ago, I decided I was going to take an intuition development class in New York. It was something I'd wanted to take for a long time because I thought I had pretty good intuition and I wanted to sharpen it. So I went to the class. It was in an office building near Penn Station in New York on 7th or 8th Avenue. And there were about 25 of us in the class. It could have been a PTA meeting. It was nice, normal people. I didn't know any of them. And we did a few exercises, and I seemed to be getting a lot of things in these exercises. I had no idea how it was happening, but it was fun. It was light. It wasn't anything it wasn't stressful. It wasn't dark. And then the teacher said we take an intermission, take a break. And when we came back, I was a little surprised because she said, now we're going to do a seance. So now you have to understand the teacher was a PhD from Columbia. She taught religion at Hunter College. She was an academic, but she'd done a lot of meditation. She was a, normal person. And anyway, so, I looked at my agenda, my schedule for the day. I didn't see anything on there about a seance, and I thought, well, I really don't want to do this, but, I'm in the class for the weekend, so I'll just go ahead and nothing's going to happen anyway. She put us in a little meditative state, and she told us what would happen, what to do when we came out of this meditative state if we saw anything. And I listened, and I thought, well, I'm not going to see anything, so, it's no big deal. And I slumped in my seat. I went into my little meditative state. My back hurt a little bit because I was in a straight back chair. I felt warm, but the room was, the windows were down in the room. And, so I attributed it to that. And then that was about all that happened. So then the teacher took us out of the meditative state and said, okay, does anyone see anything? So I looked around the room, and everybody looked at each other. And I raised my hand, and the teacher said, what do you see? And I said, I see about 50 people. I saw about 50 people. And some of them were people associated with people in the classroom who I did not know. Some of them were relatives of mine. I saw my sister-in-law's niece who had passed 2 years earlier. I saw my aunt. I saw a lot of people. And then I saw random people. I saw 42nd Street showgirls prancing through the room. I saw pushcart peddlers, pushing their pushcarts through the room. Because you see, when you're open, anything can come in. For all of you who've made presentations, I'm happy to explain this to you because I've done a lot of research on it at this point. Anyway, the teacher said, she told me what to do, and she said, talk about who you see. And I said, I see in this far right corner, I see a man. He's Hispanic. He's got dark hair parted in the middle, a broad white smile, and a mustache. And a woman sitting in that corner started to sob. And as I continued to describe him, she said, yes, that was my fiancé, and he died 2 years ago. And I really wanted to hear from him. And she believed in this stuff, and she was perplexed as to why she hadn't heard from him. So she said, the woman said, well, during the break, can I show you on my cell phone? I have pictures on my cell phone. Can you identify him? And I said, yeah, there was no question in my mind I'd be able to identify him. So she showed me her pictures, and I said, yeah, there he is, that one. And she said, that's him. That's my fiancé. And she said, thank you so much. She said, she hugged me. She was so grateful. Okay. I worked on Wall Street. Nobody thanks you for anything on Wall Street. I'd never done anything meaningful in my investment career. I made people money, but outmaneuvering the stock market, outthinking another investment strategist is not really all that meaningful when you get down to it. So, it registered on me. I did something meaningful for this person, perhaps the most meaningful thing that I could ever do for anybody. And I was pretty shook up because, of course, I had no explanation for anything that happened. To make a long story short, and I'm probably already over my minutes, but I'll try to wrap up. I drove home that weekend, and I called my youngest son, who is a very mathematical, logical person, a very skeptical person, and I told him everything that happened to me, and he didn't say a word. And when I was all done, he stopped, and he said, it's just physics. We're just energy. The energy has to go somewhere. And once I understood that, I had no problem dealing with any of this. And so today I work as a psychic. And we are just energy. And this is all energy. It's an energetic realm that we're dealing with. So, there is an explanation for it. It's scientific bordering on the ephemeral. But there is an explanation, and it makes perfect sense. It's a little bit beyond quantum physics, but it's becoming a more prevalent phenomena. Right now, it's affecting more and more people because of the times that we live in. And, I don't have enough time tonight to talk about all this. But anyway, I wanted to share my story with you, and I thank you all for listening. I wish I could see you. You can't see anybody up here. But anyway, thank you.
That was Debra Diamond, Wall Street money manager turned psychic, medium, and medical intuitive, speaking of the day she discovered these gifts. You can hear her story and others at stoopstorytelling.com. Our show today talked about connecting with and celebrating those in the afterlife. Earlier, we talked with program directors from the Walters Art Museum about the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, celebrations the museum is hosting. Creative Alliance has notable Day of the Dead programs, too. This Sunday, don't miss Creative Alliance's legendary Great Halloween Lantern Parade and Festival in the tradition of Day of the Dead. Festivities kick off at 3:30 p.m., and the parade follows. The public is also invited to create community altars now through November 5th. The Dia de los Muertos Family Day with Artesanas Mexicanas will take place a week from tomorrow, November 4th at 11 a.m. Activities include paper cut-out art and sugar skull making, and there will be music, food, and dance. We have information about all these events at the On the Record page at wypr.org. This is On the Record. I'm Sheila Cass. So glad you've been with us this morning. Hope your weekend is great.
Thanks for listening to this segment of On the Record with Sheila Cass. You can catch the show on the radio Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 10 a.m. on 88.1 WYPR, your NPR news station. And you can support On the Record and all the other public radio programs that WYPR brings to you. Just click the donate link at the top of wypr.org. And thanks.